It was Shelley's fault.
Is your phone muted? Just courtesy, be nice.
No, I know. I'm way ahead of you, boss.
All right.
Just let us know when you're ready to roll. We're rolling,
right? I mean,
we're rolling. Wow, I did not know that. We're already on.
I love it.
Oh, cool.
I
I
love
like
it.
that. There you go.
Yeah, it just kind of sneaks up
And you
on
got
you.
to tell me if my lipstick is on my teeth.
It's not
Okay.
solid.
So today we have another guest host with us, and he's actually my financial advisor. We have Tim Nanson here.
Hi, Shelley.
Tim.
Hi, group.
Tim.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hey,
nice
Tim.
meeting you guys. Yeah, thanks for having me, Shelley.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And we have the huge Jose, my realtor, and then Devin, my assistant
Hey, y'all.
/ hairdresser. And so anyway, we wanted to get a little more candid and serious today about finances and money, because this home that I'm working on, known as all kinds of things, the porn house.
That's not
The
a
Airbnb
nickname.
house.
I'm not going to allow
It's-
that be a nickname.
And okay, Ivanhoe. It's going to be gorgeous.
That's just the thing, isn't it? It's not really.
I
No, it's
mean,
not.
It's not the nickname.
it's no, well,
Not
no.
good for marketing.
No, we won't use that for marketing, okay? But we will use it
To help pitch a
just
show.
to help pitch the show, that it was used for weird reasons prior to purchasing it. That's maybe why I got it for
Yeah.
a steal. I got it for
Well,
like
that was the rumor.
yeah, that was rumor on the street
Yeah.
for sure. That's
Yeah.
what everybody was saying. So I called up Tim and told him that I had to liquidate, what was it, $1.7 million.
It was just shy of 1.7, yeah, and laid it all out for me and sort of the game plan on where we were going to be. I'm like, okay, let's run that by me again. All right, let's really talk about it and put our heads together. So
I mean, because we're not talking, we're talking about money that could make or break me.
correct.
So it is really serious. Even though I like to joke around a lot, I've had many sleepless nights because Devin is in charge of the books. So what is our expense report looking like right now?
We're about 3,300,000.
What do you mean? 3,300,000. That's not even a number, Devin.
I see why you're having a lot of sleepless nights.
What do you mean?
I think I may need to have
300, yeah.
300, 3, 0, 0, 0.
and
330,000.
330.
$330,000
Yeah.
If I'm-
dollars.
330,000.
0, 0, 0. Yeah.
.00.
A number so big Devin can't even read it.
I know. Math was never my strongest suit.
Do you know a bookkeeper? You used to live here in Thousand Oaks. This is a good segue.
Yes.
So you have lived in Los Angeles.
I have. Yeah. Raised out in Ventura County. Well, technically LA County and Agoura, and then was living in Thousand Oaks before relocating to Minnesota.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you are somewhat familiar with how the real estate industry is here versus Minnesota or other parts of the
Correct.
country.
And had a bird's eye view of it, or firsthand experience, I should say, with my wife being a realtor before we left.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, for 2.5, 3 years, she was working with Rodeo and with some others, right? And helped a few of the Rams players relocate into this area.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, way back, having talks with them and getting them hooked up with folks. So, yeah, interesting time, right? Interesting experience. And, I think she thoroughly enjoyed it. And then, we got called off somewhere else. So, yeah, life takes us off. So, yeah, familiar with it. And then, of course, working with her and clients as well to manage finances and real estate portfolio. So,
Okay,
yeah,
great.
Yeah, the two seem to dovetail in pretty nicely. So,
Nice.
All right. So we are clearly at a point that is not, I'm not happy with where our expense report is. And so I've had many conversations with Tim about that because, as you know, the house is huge and we have to make sure that it's, finished. Hello. We got to finish the house. We're in it too deep right now to just,
Stop.
well, we can't.
Yeah.
There's no stopping.
right.
But there are ways to, no, I don't want to say cut corners. That sounds like I'm going to cheap out on the house, and I don't cheap out on anything. But we're going to need more money. So Tim, you're going to have to be sending me more money, and we've talked about that before.
We've had that conversation.
And is it smarter for me to liquidate because you're investing, you're my investor for my stocks and the market hasn't been very great. So what do I do? Just to recap what we talked about last week, do you liquidate or do you borrow against your own money? Because I'm going to need probably another 250.
Right. And so the discussion we've had quite candidly, if I feel I can share that right here. That's the point. So the discussion we've had is, do we liquidate shares and we just send you that 250 cash, right? In that case, then we're generating capital gains, right? You're losing your shares, right? And your investing power, right? But then there's no interest being gained on the backside, right? The other option is to borrow the money against your assets, going out on margin, taking a $250,000 loan against your own portfolio. You don't have to qualify for it, right? You take that money out, but then you've got the interest rate at 11.5, 11.75.
Or real estate.
or you look at the real estate market, right? And I have to say that real estate and equities are the two places that I know that are the best for creating, growing, and protecting wealth.
But I cannot continue doing what I'm doing if I don't stay within a certain budget.
Correct. And I agree with Jose, right, that you should have real estate, right?
Yeah.
And I've agreed with you when you first got these ideas and these notions that you were going to start dabbling. What do you want to call it? Real estate investor, flipper. Real estate however you were going to do it, or a landlord. Right? Or whatever you were going to design. Yes, property designer.
The next Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
Oh.
It is. We can't say landlord anymore. Rental property owner.
RPO.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Just roll off the tongue, right?
So I
RPO.
just saw Tim look at my nails, and I just have to say they are a hot mess, and I always have Band-Aids because I'm always working.
Right.
So just excuse them.
That's why I keep my hands under the table.
That's what I should probably do too. Do you know what I mean? I'm just oh my gosh. And we've been
mom said that's always not polite. You gotta have your hands up. Is that true?
I don't know. I do know that if you're inside, you're supposed to eat fried chicken with a fork, and if you're outside, you're supposed to eat fried chicken with your fingers.
You have told me
so
that.
I know some stuff. Jose, you're the expert. What do you think it will bring? And it is 3 stories, but we are doing some amazing framing and a lot of awesome additions to it.
Yeah. I mean, you are putting amazing work into it, and I'm excited to see it progress. And I think when we first bought it, we talked about a safe, conservative landing spot was in the mid-2s, right? Before we started, not knowing really the extent.
Yeah,
no.
I
don't want to give you a heart attack.
I'm gonna stutter like Porky Pig or Daffy Duck right now. There is no way that we can.
Of course.
I actually do it better, Miss Piggy. Kermit, and you're wearing green. There is no way we're selling that house for $2.5 million. I will slip my wrist. Giant ADU inside the house. How about we just say it like that?
ADU bottom floor.
But
it's a very versatile house. You can use it in a lot of different ways.
Or family, when family comes over.
Right.
They have their own space.
It's great. You can use it either as an entertaining space and so on and so forth, or you can also rent it out if you go broke, which is
what the last tenant did before it got taken over from the bank.
Yeah, the last tenant, she did some really crazy things.
Airbnb.
Just trying to rent it out to SC students. No SC student wants to live in that house and make the commute to downtown LA.
That's ridiculous.
That's what the neighbors told me she was trying to do, is promote it towards SC students.
Okay.
And each room, because there were so many rooms, there's 6 bedrooms, 6 baths. So trying to get students in there to rent, it's just a hot mess. Okay.
So it was not being rented out to Vixen or some other entertainment company.
Possibly after them.
Oh, after them.
It's just, we don't really know.
We
don't know the
this
whole.
This is all hearsay.
Okay.
It's all hearsay, but the bones of the house are good because it was built in 92. We're going to make it a modern Spanish, like a Santa Barbara, beautiful modern Spanish home. And, it's just, this reminds me of the last restoration that we did with Dustin. You and I had so many funny conversations about it because I kept saying, well, in 2028, LA is going to have the Olympics here. Don't you think that's appealing to people if they have that house? And because it's near the LA River, and we laughed so hard because really, are they going to be doing rowing? We talked about doing rowing in the LA River.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Apparently, they're going to be doing rowing.
They are.
Yeah. Riverfront property. Right? Like close, easy river access.
So as I'm having a panic attack with Tim, Jose came in and saved the day because I was thinking what you were saying, and I was laughing, and I thought it was hilarious that, there's just going to be like tents and encampments like floating down the LA River, or some syringes or needles, and people are like, ha! But a big network makes that all look really pretty on television.
That's right.
So that's TV.
Talking about your last project, which was, you hit it out of the park.
Thank
right?
you.
That's grand slam.
Yeah,
right? And the offer that came out, and the home was gorgeous.
It was a gorgeous home, but he helped
phenomenal, right? Great marketing and getting out there. So, do you like this project better? Are you happier with this project, or how it's going, or what the finished project is going to look like?
It's too early to say, right? Because it's still taking shape.
It's still taking shape, but this one is, like we said on our last show, I like so much, I would think about moving into it.
Yeah.
If I can get the right amount of money for my house, because of location, and because of a future sale. This property is going to go up in value much faster because of the square footage than my home that I'm currently in.
Location too.
So thinking long term, it would be wiser for me to get into this house, but I have to make, that decision after we list it, and if I get enough money for it. And so that's why you say mid-twos. I'm moving.
No.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm definitely moving.
I was gonna continue that discussion. So we when we first started, the conservative point was mid-2, so 2.5, 2.7, right? And then I think the design elevated. So I think right now we're tracking in the higher 2s, right?
At least. Yeah. I won't take anything under 3.
Right.
Because I have to make money. And I'm putting more money into it than I anticipated, because the cost of everything has just skyrocketed, and it's also enormous. But I do have an excellent crew in there right now that I'm really pleased with. Knock on wood, that stays the same. And the sale date would be the beginning of September. So I came up with a very stringent schedule, and I went over it with my contractor, and he's like, I think we can make that happen. Because as you know, you cannot sell a house around the holidays. Preferably, correct. I'd like to sell it in May or June. That's gone.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hold on to it until next May or June, because then my money is not moving, and I got to keep my money moving. So how do you project the market going in the fall and into the spring, just from a stock perspective? Because that would help me decide, do I hold on to Corralitos and sell Corralitos in May or June, which Jose has mentioned to me many times that it doesn't really matter in LA as much as other cities when you sell the house, because it's always pretty much, there's not a lot of inventory. So how do you project it going in the fall and into the spring? If my money is held out of the market, what's going to happen to me?
So I project that the market will go up, down, or stay where it's at. I like that. That's a good candidate answer. That covers pretty much all bases.
That's no answer.
I can't predict what wackadoodly thing is going to come up, right? And how people are going to react to it.
What do you think? Like, what's going on right now? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? What's your opinion on all of this? And when do you think I should try to sell this house so I can get my money back plus some, and continue to do what I'm doing, so you might still keep your job? And so I
didn't know that was on the blocks. Wow.
And so I'm teasing. I have
poor Devin, right?
I have a brother and sister like relationship with Devin. Okay,
it's true.
We've been having a hard time. It's been really brutal. Like, I've been putting in. I was like so proud of myself. I was like, I think I worked like 60 hours last week. And then Francisco, who's the guy overseeing the property now and managing everybody, he was like 60 hours. Like, that's nothing, basically. He works probably 80 hours a week almost.
Yeah, wow. Hard working.
It was a lot for us.
It's a lot, lately especially.
Yeah.
Okay. Like this morning, I get a call. The gas company's there. They're finally going to move the meter. These are little things that should have been taken care of. But let me tell you, sorry, LADWP, you need like your infrastructure completely redone. It was just so many long holds. So many
phone calls.
It was awful.
A lot of people tell me this regularly.
Like months.
To move a meter.
Almost 3.
That is a huge liability. If a car, we have the gas off, but if a car hops that curb or anything, or, there goes the neighborhood. Because the gas meter is sticking literally like in the oddest spot ever, like out of a courtyard. So we're moving it. It's like a car could just drive over it. A car could literally just drive over the gas meter if the gas is on. Yeah. So finally today I got a call that the gas company's there, but we had to use fear tactics. We had to call and say, look, the neighbors are complaining. We called and said, at one point we smelled gas because the other people that were doing the demo, well, they were stupid and didn't realize if you're doing demo and running these types of like machine, like jackhammers and stuff, you got to make sure your gas is off.
Right.
So I've learned a lot on this one. I have learned a lot more on this home than I did on the last one. So I'm trying to stay positive too and always be the eternal optimist and think I always land on my feet. I'm like a cat. Yeah. And I'm going to come out shining like a diamond. You're living in this concrete jungle. I'm not really living in a concrete jungle. I'm kind of living on an urban farm. And that's been said many times in many different reels I've done and things like that. Like everybody knows I've got a chicken coop and everybody knows there's coyotes and I've got a giant lawn or lot. And it's like, there's foliage everywhere. So you can't have it all unless you're Bill Gates. You can't like, you either live in a modern home that's all concrete and that's still going to cost you a lot of money, or you live in the hills and you have these beautiful views and you have great gardens, but then you're dealing with snakes and coyotes.
Be more selective what you shoot, because we do a lot on social media. Right. We're a little more selective, and then it's easier to edit.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I can't imagine. I mean, I just tried to do a bathroom, right? So trying to do a project like what you're doing and filming all that and the daily interaction between the two of you, I mean, comedy gold, right? But, it's just going to be way too much.
Well, yeah, we also just do it in chunks like we've been doing, right? Filming chunks and each stage. And
I've got, like, I'm like the Energizer Bunny. I can't stop, won't stop, and I keep going and I'm going to keep going. But I think I've really pounded you into the ground. And I'm sorry. We need maybe another person too. I don't know if one, you know what I mean? We're doing this, like, it's a lot. This morning, I'm getting a call. I have to be here, but I also have to deal with my children, and then, which is fine. I love them, and I want to be a mom more than anything, okay? So I want to be there for them. I pick them up from school. I drop them off from school. I enjoy packing their lunches. I like that thing. That's my jam. That's my number one jam. And then these projects and making money is secondary. So, yeah, it's a lot. You just got to...
just keep rolling with it.
Yeah. It fuels a whole different side of you.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the parenting thing, everything else, right? That's where you get your fix. But these types of projects and the adrenaline that you get, right? And right? I mean, that fuels a whole different part.
What's emotional swing, right? Because they're very challenging. There's a lot of hurdles,
ups and downs.
Yeah. I've worked with a lot of people doing them. I've done a few myself, and it's just you're up and down. And then at the end, you're almost so emotionally exhausted, you can't celebrate.
Ending up putting almost $600,000 into this house.
That's right.
Which makes sense because it's enormous.
Yeah.
How could you do it without putting $600,000 into it? I was hoping I could do it for $500,000.
Well, if you did very low quality and not,
some
people do.
There are ways.
Oh, no, I know.
I see it all the time.
But all my hardwood floors are solid.
Right.
All my cabinetry, solid wood, everything, vanities, custom. I do know how to find the right people, and I feel like I have built a really strong team.
Yep.
And it's all about relationships. And then if they know that you're going to be a recurring client and a recurring customer, they'll work with you. So that's helped me significantly on the second house because I already know where to buy my, a lot of the products from and a lot of the material from. So let's just say we put in $600,000 and we're at 1.7. So now I'm at $2.3 million into this house. That's why I cannot sell it anywhere near 2.5.
Right.
Just to button that, wrap all that
up.
Of
course.
We're talking low threes at minimum. And I've been seeing homes in Silver Lake going like a 3-bedroom, 3-bath for like $4 million.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
Well, that must have been, that was a rare sale too, right? It was
I don't think it was.
Are we talking about the Spanish?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the pool.
Yeah.
And the sport court.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are
It was
certain.
like 4-1. Didn't it sell for like 4-1?
I think it was 4-1. Yeah, that was a unique one. It did have a really emotional feel and look to it too. But I think you're bringing that vibe in. That's why I'm like recommending too. Because you asked me earlier what is the market like right now. So the market right now is homes that are done right with good design. Like design is more important than ever. That they're moving right. They're moving at a good rate.
Great.
But homes that are kind of stale and boring and grayed out, which you would never do.
Never.
Never.
Right.
Are not. And the market now is speaking to good quality, and you're making that good quality. And what's good about it is you're going to you can return a higher amount, but it's also a little harder to predict, right? So I always give conservative ranges when talking with clients, just to make sure we're not overspending or overdoing, and then being disappointed with the result. So early on, we did talk about like mid 2.5, 2.7. But obviously, if you're doing a lot of things that you're doing, you're making it into Spanish, you're putting in the really nice terracotta roof. This is going to help you get into the threes, right? High twos or low threes is, I think, a good fair
number
space
to start with.
Correct.
To start with.
How has the recent events here in Southern California affected market rates and market prices? Right, a lot of people being displaced. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, just the Palisades, right? Yep. Completely gone.
I know.
Right. Those people moving into rentals and looking for homes. Right. What has that done? And has it been more in and around the Palisades and on the west side, or is it affecting things farther out? Right. As people say, maybe I want something different now. Good
question. I mean, immediately after the fires, there was a little bit of a pause, obviously, because it was a crazy time. I mean, we were all worried for a moment that our neighborhood was next, even like in the mid city. We're nowhere near a forest. It was a weird time. But immediately, I would say probably 2 weeks after that, we saw the market bounce right up, right? Because a lot of people were displaced. First rentals, were hit, needing inventory. And then sales, and all over, mainly around the burn areas. So around the Palisades and where the Eden Fire were. But then soon, Mid-City, West Adams, we see multiples going everywhere. So it really kind of heated up the market when it was kind of in a soft space. So overall, it was a positive if you were a seller. A little more difficult if you're a buyer.
Sure.
And then larger homes too. So that's what's good about your home, are more sought after as well too. More square footage, or more land. Those are always that was a trend we saw going from last year. But the bigger set homes are a higher premium. But big yard is a big appeal. But it's also the less used space.
Okay,
that people buy. So that's what we could run and let people know, because there's studies they do on it too, that people buy these big lots and then they don't even use the whole lot.
Well, they want them for privacy.
Right?
So there's not someone right next door, or with an arm's distance of the bathroom window.
Yeah.
True.
Right? But they're not really going out there.
But we're in a dense city, so even on big lots, you don't guarantee privacy, right?
This is true. This is true.
Good, mature landscaping, that is very valuable. I've seen 20-foot ficuses raise the property value by $1 million.
Love it.
Yeah,
I love hearing that.
And that's what we have going too. We have mature trees.
Right.
So that's very, very valuable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Blocks it off.
Absolutely.
And then you do feel like you have your privacy. And then you see the greenery.
Yes, exactly.
And I'll have a beautiful deck.
Yeah.
And there is space, because I have this obsession, like I'm Clark from Christmas Vacation. I have an obsession. I have to have a pool before I die. Okay, you guys. And my pool contractor said I can fit a pool at Ivanhoe.
There you go.
But what was the cost?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Did he give you a range or no?
No, not really. But he was like, actually, this might be
there.
easier than your house that I'm currently in.
Really?
Because it's on bedrock.
Oh, that's right. The geologist was very
Yes.
So
the whole
easier
house
to
is
install.
on bedrock. That's one of the reasons I bought it. I was like,
very solid.
this is a big, huge, enormous house. It's got to be retrofitted or on bedrock or something, or I will not put I won't buy it.
Yeah.
And then we had the structural engineer, geologist, come over, and they looked into it, and they're like, it's bolted down, it's awesome, it's on solid bedrock.
Nice. Did we talk on the last one about the house we saw before with the geologist and how bad of the condition was?
No, we didn't, but you can mention that really quickly.
So we looked at one real quick, another fixer in Mount Washington, and the geologist came out. It's on a mudslide zone, active mudslide zone.
Oh my God, it was like in the worst spot you could ever buy a home. It's like, it's going to happen.
So he said if you wanted to do it, you would have to tear this house down and then build the fraction of the size, like a quarter of the size on the front of the lot.
Oh my gosh. No.
You imagine this?
No.
Really?
Build like a 500-foot shack.
Yeah, I know. That was terrible.
You'd be done already.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's why we do it.
So
That's why we do our inspections, right?
But this is making me feel so much better because I was not expecting to hear you say that a house of this size was like that desirable.
Of course, yeah. So this house has a lot going for it. That's why I was kind of opening the conversation, maybe being a little dramatic with mid-twos, but showing you the potential.
Did we have to reveal the end of the show? No, we said
don't
mid-twos.
scare her too much.
Sorry.
No, you're all good. It's all good. So I'm zoning the heck out of it, right? Because that will save on electricity and your AC and heating bills and yada yada.
Yeah.
But
also make it really flexible. Like I mentioned earlier, how you can use it, right? Independent floors.
Yeah.
You could rent out the bottom. It's going to be a really different product than what people are seeing.
And
is it one entrance, a single entrance, or are there multiple entrances?
Double.
Okay.
3 right now.
3.
Okay.
Actually.
Can you get into the bottom floor?
Yeah.
Separate.
Private.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
private entrance.
Completely.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can also get into, the primary. I almost said master. I know I'm not allowed to say that anymore. Into the primary, with which the ensuite that we have built is going to be killer.
Well, there's more than one ensuite too. Again, right?
There's 2.
Yeah.
So it's got 2
go.
primaries with 2 ensuites, cinema room, huge entertainment space. I do love to entertain, and the entertainment space is on the lowest level. So you come right off the deck and you come up, and there's going to be a beautiful open space that has the photos of the bar. I don't know if I can edit these in, but I'll try to edit in what the end result is supposed to look like, and the framing is gorgeous. So you go into you walk up just a few steps, not a lot, from your outdoor deck, where you have your brick oven pizza maker and your spool maybe. Okay, let's just say positive.
Hey, okay.
Might need $300,000, Tim. Might need $300,000, okay?
Noted.
I'm probably not going to liquidate because I really think we will.
Just remember, this has got to be done by September.
No, that's what
And we're just taking shape.
You just took the words out of my mouth, though.
Yeah.
Timing, right?
It can happen. We can do
can
September
happen.
1st. I mapped it out. I know how to do it now. There's a formula, just like there's almost a formula to everything in life. And I'm like, this is going to happen, and this can be listed. But it's still really hot in September. What do you think? October?
I know you asked me that, and I think September is good because in the late summer there's a lot of traveling going on, so it's not always the best. Because you asked me timing, in LA, you're right.
It's too hot.
With the right home, there's really no wrong time. But even in the winter, like November, December is not a great time to sell.
Right.
If you can avoid it. But there's less inventory that time.
Yeah.
And if you have a really special property, I've seen some pretty big sales happen in that time. So really, we're in a really strong market that I don't want you to freak out on the time and get it right. That's more important than trying to nail this perfect time. But again, if we have to talk about time, September is great because we're coming back, school starting, so everyone's back in town.
Okay, everyone's back in town, but school is starting in a school district that's incredibly desirable. So then have I missed the boat?
Well, not necessarily. Some people already
move.
We're getting, your home is so large, you might get someone in Silver Lake in the school district trying to upsize, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is,
Right.
I don't think it's a big fear in that.
So, speak a little bit, right? Because we're talking about putting a pool in. How much money do you get? How much value add is there?
That's a tough question.
to have a
Yeah.
No, it's not. I talked to one of my buddies.
Depends who you ask.
I was going to go with that, right? I mean, bathrooms, kitchens, things like that, right? Remodels, right? A lot of value add.
Of course.
Adding a pool, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I know there's usually people say it adds 100 to 300K, which can be true. However, you do have buyers that are going out looking at homes and don't want a pool.
Who doesn't want a pool?
Who doesn't want a pool in Los
I was going to tell you,
Right.
lawyers. So people who
For
are
liability
who
reasons.
think a lot about liability. Yeah.
Right.
They are
Then put a child safety gate around it.
true. You can do stuff. I'm just saying. I'm just saying what I hear and see
I
in there.
understand.
So it's not necessarily a thing. But again, when you're doing a high design home now, right? It kind of adds value there.
That,
And
that
pool.
is
Right.
what the
So now
kicker
we're-
is.
yeah.
Yes.
Because my buddy who came out, and he is a GC, he has the sickest house I've ever seen in the Palisades. He's way above me. I'm not not nearly at his level. He's renovating homes in Montecito that are $100 million. He said, if you can add a pool to that house, you're going to up it by $500,000 to $1 million.
Wow.
Do you believe that? You're
That's
a
a big
realtor,
number.
but
That's large.
a large
Yes.
percentage of people want a pool.
Yeah.
Right?
who doesn't want a pool
percentage.
in Los Angeles?
But
We're
I
in a
just want you to
metro
know, there is
area.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a value add or if it just brings people up. Right. This
Right.
other house that we really like doesn't have a pool. This house does have a pool.
Yeah. But what it
So
does
I'm
do,
able to.
yeah.
So it brings people. So
I would-
it brings the buyers in.
Yeah.
You're in an area where everybody's trying to get into that school district. What kid doesn't want a pool? This is a neighborhood
Totally
of
with you.
kids.
Yeah.
Totally with you.
And I'm
I would
still a
not
kid.
buy a
I
house
need
in
the
Southern
pool.
California. I would not buy a house
know.
in Southern California without a pool. That was a requirement when we bought here.
Oh, really?
When we bought
Oh, there you
those
go.
homes.
See?
I
We
needed
haven't
a
found our
pool.
buyer.
Oh my gosh, I'm back.
Like
Thank
the
you for
history
doing
of that.
this.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm
Yeah,
serious.
thank you.
That was
Yeah, thank you.
I
Super-
learned much.
That was super informative, and
It
you
was.
and you said it in layman's terms as much as you could, because this kind of speakage, to me, sometimes you'll say something to me, and I'm like, you gotta break it down for me. I have no idea what that means. I'm just like so over my head. That's not my wheelhouse. So I appreciate you coming, and I appreciate you putting it in layman's terms.
It did help. It made
pleasure.
more
Yeah.
sense.
Thank you.
And you have a great radio voice.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just gonna sign off.
All right.
So
We'll see.
what do we do? What did we do last time? And it was kind of like a little bit of a fail, but what do we do this time? Like a fist pump? No,
Sure.
is that passe? It's passe.
Yeah, we could just say
Bye.
Seacrest out.
No. Not Seacrest.
I will just do it.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's your show.
Thanks for watching. I hope you watched the whole episode. It was a little more informative than it's been in the past, but I think that's helpful, a little more educational. But I think we need that, especially for people that are thinking about buying and selling or renovating.
I think it was a success. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
It's a wrap.
Let's go pick up the kids.
All right.
I gotta pick up the kids.